Hello and welcome to the beautiful, now defunct Auto Club Speedway. This is the Team Conti Sim Performance Track Guide for Week 7 of 2024, Season 3. I'm going to take you for a 25-lap run around the fantastic Auto Club Speedway and give you some tips and tricks to tackle this great, old, abrasive, racy intermediate style track. So, high level overview here, Auto Club. There's really no right way to drive this track. There are so many different techniques that you can use to make speed around here, so many different lines you can use to make speed. But what I'm going to focus on over the course of this 25-lap run is how to make speed while taking care of the tires. There isn't a whole lot of fall off this week. Maybe a second and a quarter, depending on how fast you fire off. But that, again, that little bit of fall off, if you have more fall off than the next guy, when we think about percentages, relative to one another, that little bit extra is going to make a lot more of a difference when everybody really isn't falling off very much. So we don't want to completely disregard the need to be kind to the tires because that will make a big difference in our overall run time. You can see here I'm going to focus my running to the bottom of the track. Not really going to venture up the track early on anyway. I might a little bit later just for the sake of showing you the different lines, but I'll focus our efforts on the bottom here. Technique from one end to the other is fairly different. 1 and 2 we're using a good bit of brake on entry, getting right down to the bottom much earlier than we do in 3 where we hang it out longer and slowly roll off the gas in 3, not really using any brake, especially early on like this. Really just going to do the best I can not to shove the front tires on exit. That's really what we're most at risk for early in the run, is hurting the front tires. As the run carries on, the rear tires will become more susceptible to losing traction. And then we'll want to watch for that loose side carousel. See, I'm not shifting right now, just keeping it 5th gear. I will start to shift later in this run to maintain a little bit extra RPM on our exit. But for now, I'm just going to keep it 5th, keep everything nice and tight. You might be thinking, if you're watching this, why are my lap times, like the content, why are my lap times so much slower than what are in the notes for a race run? That's a great question. The answer to that is that this is 1 hour earlier than the lap times that were posted for running. A-opens start at a certain time. Typically, you build a little bit further into the session just to simulate where that track temp is going to be. Again, that's not exact science. None of this stuff is. Lap times are really dependent on weather conditions. But anyway, right now I think our track temps are about 10 to 12 degrees higher than what they were in testing, and that's probably worth about 3, 4, maybe 5 tenths. So I'm not really focused on lap time for here. I'm focused on technique, as you all should be as well. If the technique is sound, the technique is good, the lap times will follow. The weather is going to change throughout the week, depending on the specific weather you have in that session. Every session is a bit different. That's the wonderful thing about this new iRacing weather system. It's very dynamic in that sense. It seems like no 2 races are the same. Typically the trend the same. Obviously, as you get later into the afternoon, temperatures are going to decrease, but where they fall to and where they start, what happens in between is totally unknown. that is it does bring up a great point. When you are doing your testing, if you want a one-to-one comparison to what I did for benchmark lap times or what any of our builders at TCSP have done, make sure you look at that notes document and set your test conditions to exactly what the setup is built in, so you can really get yourself a good gauge of where you're at versus whoever built the setup. If you're running in different weather conditions, it's not really indicative of where you stack up against them. It's pretty skewed. It can be misleading, and it's not giving you a good idea of where you are lap time wise. Similar to Indy and Pocono and a lot of the tracks we've been to lately, corner exit is just massively important in terms of generating and carrying momentum down the long straightaway. As you'll see at both ends, when I get into the throttle, I really want to commit to a lot of throttle. Not necessarily 0 to 100, even on new tires, and certainly not as the tires wear, but you do not want to overcharge entry, carry a bunch of speed into the corner, have to stop the thing in the center, and then carry no speed on exit. What you gain on entry, you will lose on the exit of the corner, and you will lose it down the ensuing straightaway. And with as momentum-based as Auto Club is now, especially in race conditions with a pack of cars, you've got to maximize your corner exits. Have to. And when you're in your races, you really want to think about how can you set up the pass to the guy in front of you without putting yourself at risk of losing more spots. Think back to Indy, think back to Pocono. You make a move into the corner, you get stuck on the bottom down the next straightaway, and you lose 3 spots because the trailer car is grabbed spot on top. Similar thing will happen here this week, especially as the top lane, middle, and the lanes outside of the bottom come in and people start to really just line the cars up at the top and defend up there. It becomes pretty tricky to pass. When you pass, you have to make sure you're clear. If you're not going to clear, don't try to pass. Simple as that. Alright, so now we'll start to explore a little bit. I'm thinking the top still isn't going to be nearly as quick as the bottom at this point in time, but we'll start to play around, especially in 1 and 2. That's really where the top comes in first. So I'm going to enter a little bit above the top seam. I'm going to cut down below it, try to straighten out my exit, and we'll see where the momentum carries me. Probably going to get pretty close to what I did the lap before, which honestly is really good this early in the run. You're only about a half a tenth off. That was my first attempt at it, so I'm sure I could do better. But yeah, so the top is pretty usable already. Usually takes a little bit longer to come in down and 3 and 4, but we'll give it a shot for the next lap. Again, remember, anytime you use the top, you're burning the tires a little bit more than you would at the bottom, so bear that in mind. Try the top again, up here, a little bit more entry speed. We'll try to hook the top, keep it above that seam. Overall, pretty good right there. Not bad, breaking the lap before. So 2 different approaches to run the top and similar outcome. On the top here in 3 and 4, there's a lot of grip at the top in 3 and 4. Really easy to get up into the fence. Not sure if it's going to gain enough momentum on exit to make up for the entry to center. And the answer is it doesn't. But again, in a race, when you have draft and a bunch of cars around you, it might make a little difference. It certainly helps you with the next lap. You're already 800 in the green into 1. Really good turn 1 right there. It's just about perfect. We're going to carry that momentum down the back. Now we'll go to the bottom of 3 and 4. We'll probably be quicker this lap. We're running a shorter distance, but what is that going to do to the momentum as we cross the line and start lap 14? We'll find out. Gaining a lot of time, center off. Entry to center, going to lose some, center off. It's still a net gain on that lap of about a tenth and a half. But here we go. So now we're losing all of that time versus the lap before because I did not run the top. I'm going to take the lap. Now we'll get back to the bottom in 1 and 2. We'll gain a little bit, enter to the center, and we'll lose all of that plus some probably on exit. Let's see. Yep, by exit, there it all goes. So with this particular weather and this track temp at 110 10 some odd degrees. Track temp right now, that top is really usable. As the track gets cooler, that top isn't going to be quite as advantageous, I don't think, because you can carry more throttle on the bottom. We'll lose some time this lap. We'll gain it coming in line. Let's start the next lap. Won't go to the top this time. Let's try middle. Enter higher. Target getting the left front down to the first seam. Couldn't quite get there. Just not enough grip. But should still have some better momentum on exit versus the lap before. Just a little bit. Try the middle. 3 and 4s typically isn't very good, but we'll find out together. That bump right there, watch that. Not bad, but not great. Comparing it to the top, definitely lost some. We'll go top again. Bump the seam. Ooh, that's what you don't want to do. Right there, super easy. The downshift will gain some of that momentum back. There is a bubble of air, which we all know about, which is next to that wall. If you don't know about it, you do now. There's a bubble of air. And when you put the right rear up to the fence, it kind of holds you there. But if you overshoot entry, if you essentially jump the cushion, you get stuck in that wall. It is not a very good time. As I did right there. So again, you're learning together. You're going to learn through my mistakes. Let's try going to the bottom and shifting. Shift to fourth and entry. Really have to watch that throttle input now. We have a lot more RPM to pull us up off the corner. But compared to the last lap, great corner, half a second in the green. Let's keep it in fourth from 3 to 4. Keep it wound up. Drive in a little bit deeper because I have that additional engine braking to slow it down. Power down up off the corner. Fairly good lap overall. Shift at about 88, 8900. Try going back to the top. Go to the top and shift. Let's try that. Let it loose. Got some good momentum on exit. Keep it in fourth. I hit the chip a couple times. Oh, not quite to the chip. Straighten out this exit right here. A little loose. More correction. Not too bad. Now we'll go to the bottom with shifting. Left front. Close to the white line. Straighten out exit. Lose some center off versus the top. Not quite as much as before though, still losing some. It's a net negative, but not bad. The brake just a second there at this point in the run. Straighten out exit. Better exit that time. Could show it in lap time, but much more settled in the rear. Let's go to the top with motion. Seems like it's going to be pretty good. Are we too bogged down though? That's the question. Not quite. Still making time up on exit, but maybe shifting up top is still better. Keep it in fifth and 3 and 4. Let's see how that affects the handling. But right there, look at that thing just going into the red. That's just for the sheer lack of RPM. Let's go to the bottom and shift. Not bad. It's a little slower than they're shifting up top. Go to the top of the grade before we get up. top of grade horizontal. Don't know if that was going to come in. Maybe it will with dynamic track, but certainly not on this one. Back to the top of the chute. We're not happy with me after the shenanigans in 3 and 4. But even with how messy that was, still faster than running the bottom. We're not going to go anywhere near the top this time, back to the bottom. A little break. So that's it. Yeah, I think we're just going to keep it on the top. We wanted to, it's pretty faster at this point, as long as I don't stick to the fence. No promises there. But that's it. Yeah, a little bit deeper here. A little more break. See if that helps. A little time on the ball, entry to center, gave up a little bit on exit. Gonna dial some brake bias forward now. Try to mitigate some of this looseness we're building here in this hard weather. Back to the top. A little lower on entry. Like this thing a little bit more. Got some really good grip right there. There we go. Much better. Kept it off the wall a little bit. Tightened it up just a smidge with the brake. Bias forward and the line change, and that was really nice. Shallower down there, little time loss, entry center, and sustained exit. Really have to limit the right rear at this point. We'll do one more lap here. Same thing, 1 and 2 down to 4, give it a little bit of room up to the outside wall. Entry speed, slide up in the center, follow that seam, good drive off. Really good grip up there, really, really nice. Wider with 3. Really good 3 and 4. And we'll come to the line to complete 25 laps and end at a 41.92. So those are 25 exciting laps at Auto Club. As you can see there, the approach and the way that we drive the car, the line that we run changes considerably throughout the course of the stint, and that is going to be even more so when you have changing weather and changing conditions as far as the track and the traffic around you. So always be flexible with what you're doing. Don't get stuck in a rut. Don't get tunnel vision and just stick with one thing. Explore, but always remember, as always, to keep the tires on the car. And that is another track guide from Team Conti Sim Performance. Hope you all have a fantastic week at Auto Club in this Cup car. Puts on some great racing, and we will see you for the next one. Take care, everybody.